Welcome to the Hole in the Wall Business Podcast with Bill and James. I'm James Groves, and along with my business partner, Bill Dement, we want to share our journey as small business owners with you. As owners of Hole in the Wall drywall repair, we will attempt to peel back the curtain of owning a small business in the trade service industry and talk about the many adventures of owning a small business. Hey there, Bill.
Morning, James. How's it going?
Doing good. Doing really good. It's been a busy morning already.
Well, that's a good thing, right? So you got a guest on today.
I do.
And I'm always excited more about this particular kind of guest because they're franchise related.
I love franchise.
And, we're really into that right now.
So I met this individual actually at a networking event, a B&I event, and I heard him and I heard about his business, and I immediately think I took a beeline right to him after the meeting. And I was so excited to meet with him. So I would love to introduce Andres Rubio with the Grounds Guys. Andres, welcome.
Oh, so you brought an entourage today.
Yeah. The fan base is here. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And in full disclosure, I really was drawn to you because I love your story that you came from Colombia. You've got a franchise. The Grounds Guys is a great company. Neighborly Group is a great franchisor company. And then I met with you a week or so ago, and we had a great conversation. And so I'm so glad you're here. Introduce yourself to our audience. Let people know kind of who you are.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, James and Bill. Thank you for inviting me to your podcast. This is my first one, so
yeah.
Oh,
it's
wow.
going to be
that's exciting.
A huge challenge, but here we are. Okay, I am Andres Rubio. I am originally from Colombia. I came here a year ago.
Nice.
Basically, I was the CEO of a river transportation company in Colombia. I was always suit and tie, having important meetings with the Secretary of Transportation, with the President of the
Oh, my
Patrol,
goodness.
with all these people. And I decided that I wanted to change my life, that I wanted to come and live in the United States. My wife and I always wanted to live here. And you're always procrastinating your decisions, and we were always saying sometimes, and that time came.
Yeah.
So we decided to move and start looking for ways to be able to do the move and come here legally.
Yeah, of course.
And that's when I started looking at some type of visas. And for Colombians, there is an opportunity that is called the E2 visa.
Yeah, E2.
That's for some countries, not for all of the countries. So E2 is an investor's visa that doesn't require a huge investment and has to be an active investment. So you have to actually buy a company or build a new company and work on it. And you're allowed to work on that company, and your spouse is allowed to work anywhere where she wants to work.
And you have to employ people in America.
You have to employ people in America. And you have to show a plan to employ people. And every 5 years in the case of Colombia, I think it's 2 for Mexicans and 2 for Ecuadorians, and it varies. But you have to show a plan, and they will audit that you're as close as possible to that plan that you show at the beginning. So we basically started looking for businesses. And when I told you this the last time that we met, when you're in Colombia and you look in the United States, you say, okay, everybody there knows what they're doing. Everybody there, it's a big entrepreneur.
Americans, we know everything, don't we?
Just ask us.
They know everything. And I started to looking for business, to buy an existing business. Yeah. And I found that wasn't true. So I started to look for new ways to get a business. And the new way to get a business is where I found that you are doing something great, that is franchising. When you hear about franchises in Colombia, you only think about McDonald's, Taco Bell.
Yeah, those are the big ones.
The big ones.
Yeah, international stuff.
And then I don't know how I came across a franchise broker, like a business broker, and he introduced me to the franchise world for everything else. So
there's so many different types of franchises out there.
I don't know if I remember correctly, but he probably mentioned 40,000 different franchises in the United States.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah,
I would not be surprised either.
I was like, okay, that's huge. So So what is that about? What are you gonna sell me? And then we started to like narrow everything down to some niches, some categories where we could find something that didn't demand a huge investment, where we could employ people, where we could grow the business into a real business and not just owning a job.
Yep.
We start talking about the different franchisors, the different companies that are doing this across the US and Canada and some other countries. We narrow it down to services, to home services.
Okay.
And that's how
So
we ended
was
up with.
Florida, was the location important to you, or you were okay to kind of going anywhere in America?
No, I didn't want any cold places.
So then you had to look for the category. Is do I want a restaurant? Do I want home services? Am I, and then
No,
you had,
I knew I didn't want a restaurant.
okay.
I am curious though. What other industries did you look at besides home services?
We were looking at. No, we basically started with home services. I was in logistics all the time, so I also look at trucks.
Yep.
And I also look at trucks, home services, and we talk a little bit about like medical facilities, but that requires some licenses and
Sure.
some other stuff that
Sure.
were a little bit harder to get, and it will take a little bit longer time to.
Yeah, I guess you don't need a PhD to have the Grounds Guys franchise. So it goes, because interesting. I think when we met, I talked about one of my friends, Michael Batali, with Wild One Day Paint, and he was on the podcast, and he shared that he narrowed it down to two. It's Wild One Day Paint or Marco's Pizza, and it literally was like,
Yeah, that's right. I forgot that.
I go, it's either a brick and mortar restaurant or a service
Or home
industry.
services. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and it was fascinating because obviously he wasn't necessarily, he knew about painting, but he wasn't a painting person, but he was a businessman and he understood business. And he was from Brazil, so his E2 visa is from Brazil. But very fascinating that you chose services, you figured out you want someplace warm. How did you narrow it down to the Grounds Guys?
I always like the outdoors. I when I was in high school, I had to decide when I was going to college what was going to be my major. So one of my options was agriculture engineer. I am an industrial engineer, but there was a program in one of the Colombian universities that it was like industrial and agriculture mixed together, and I had like that back in my mind that I never did it. So when the opportunity presented to have a landscaping company, I was like, okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to be outside. I'm going to be meeting people. I'm going to have the opportunity to create a lot of new things, new paradises, and that's cool. I like it. It's going to be an easy business. It's not that hard to manage, but it's going to give me the opportunity to grow, because it is an $82 billion business
Yeah.
in the United States.
Oh, it's huge. And Florida might be the epicenter of all that.
It's year round. Then you start looking at numbers. And then you start looking at numbers and you find out that the GDP for Colombia is 250 billion. And the GDP for Florida is 750 billion. So just Florida is 3 times the GDP of Colombia.
Wow.
Yeah. And as a curiosity, what is the population of Colombia by comparison to Florida? 47 million in Colombia,
Yep.
and Florida's 21 billion at this time.
So it's 3 times GDP. It's got to be 6 times GDP per capita.
Wow.
So when you start comparing that, you realize that you're getting into a huge business. And it's a huge business that is basically managed by mom and pops.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you build a little bit of an organization, you have to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then I was also looking at pool service,
Okay.
and I wanted to have I don't remember the name of this company, but it's one that has the pool shop, and then they offer services, but they were only franchising to U.S. citizens. So they closed the door.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why. They closed the door for E2 visa. They only wanted citizenship. So I had to move away from it. So I narrow it down to landscaping. And in landscaping, you have maintenance, you have projects, you have lawn care.
Okay.
But then you need licenses for lawn care in Florida. There are only 2 states in the United States that need licenses.
I didn't even
Texas
know that.
And
In Florida.
and Florida, to apply fertilizers, which is another huge business. The biggest companies in landscaping as a general category in the United States are True Green, Massey, Lawn Doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they are all needing
So they have a special license
here.
so they can apply all those chemicals.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
So
you don't have to have those for...
I don't need to have those licenses for the grounds guys.
Very nice.
Actually, there are no licenses. You only have to be insured.
Yeah.
There are no licenses for cutting grass, installing sod, doing mulch, doing any enhancement that you need for a property.
I was meeting with some friends of mine the other day, and Michael was there from Wild One Day Painting. Marcos was there from the Glass Gurus. There was another gentleman. He was French, and he owned an air duct cleaning business that he had. And they were all here on the E2 visas. And I mentioned that I was going to be interviewing you on the podcast. And we really got a chance to kind of start talking with my core buds here. And I realized that every person in this niche, this E2 niche, they're all incredibly hard workers.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And they're all here. They're motivated to make money because obviously your visa is tied to the success of your business. Plus, they all come from a different, like Marcos was a chef, an executive chef.
Is
in
that
Mexico
right?
City,
I didn't know that.
And he wanted to get out of the restaurant business. And then he bought,
Where's he from?
he's from Mexico City.
Mexico City.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. And Vitaly came from Brazil and he was a big executive. You were CEO.
And he's actually Italian, right?
He is Italian.
He's
but his wife's
Italian,
Brazilian.
and then he came by way of Brazil.
And so everyone I know that has come as a business person from out of the country into the country is really contributing to the melting pot of who we are.
Yeah.
So that's when I saw you in the BNI Elite, the great BNI meeting in Winter Park. I could tell you were engaged, and I could tell you were a smart guy just by how you were introducing yourself. So you've now selected the home services. You want to be outdoors, and then how many other businesses other than grounds guys were you looking at? Like in the landscaping field, how many
3 or
franchises?
4 other franchises.
Really? Okay.
There's one called Augusto Lonker. Is this guy? I don't know if you have met him. He's a YouTuber slash landscaper, really smart guy who is doing some stuffs. And then there is the lawn doctor, but lawn doctor, I couldn't do it because I needed the license, and
Yeah.
it will take me like 2 years to get the license.
Now, is that something you're considering now? Now you're here, your business is running. Would you consider getting the license and just doing that as an add-on?
I have learned a lot throughout this year, and I think my growth path is more into projects, into doing projects.
You like the projects.
Um,
Now, are you doing the designs too?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
doing design. We went through a really long training with the franchise. Then I took some. You have to know the trade if you
Sure,
want to.
of course.
If you want to have a successful business, so I needed to learn a lot. I learned a lot about design. I learned a lot about plants. I learned a lot about taking care of everything. So that on top of my previous knowledge of how to run a business, how to sell, because basically, once you have 1 or 2 employees, you are no longer a trade people. If you are an electrician and you have 2 or 3 people working with you, you are no longer an electrician. If you are a plumber and you have 2 or 3 people working with you, you are no longer a plumber. You are a business owner.
Yes.
And if you're a business owner, you have to go with what brings money into the company, and what brings money into the company is selling. So if you are still going to do the trade, you're probably missing out on what really makes your company grow. But you need to know the trade.
Yeah.
You absolutely do. And it's funny you say that. I had a friend years ago. He owned, he's retired now, but he owned a repaving company. So he would go to companies and repave their parking lots. And he told me years ago, he says, Bill, you don't want to be a drywaller. You want to be a provider of drywalling services. And that was the insight. But you're right. You have to know the trade first. You have to know what you're doing, because if we send somebody out on a job from here, we have to understand what that job entails. We have an understanding how long it's going to take, what kind of equipment are they going to need to bring. And it's absolutely requisite that you understand the trade. But then somebody has to be out there getting new business and making new contacts.
I think that's why I'm drawn to the E2 world, because I know for hole in the wall, I can train them and their staff to do the drywall side. But being in business with someone who wants to do business, it was what excites me. And then being able to find somebody that has the drive to do it.
Yeah,
like
and
E2
motivation,
does,
just out and out motivation.
We're such a great fit for that world. That's kind of why I'm leaning to that. That's why we're trying to get with immigration attorneys and trying to get in front of entrepreneurs like yourself seeking to kind of come into the country doing that thing. I'm curious about the process, though. So you found the broker, you found the business. At what point did you say, okay, I've signed the dotted line, here's my money, I'm buying a business? From that point, how long did it take you to actually get the visa, get here, and get established?
My process was a little bit different because COVID hit.
Oh, yes, it affected everything.
So we found a great lawyer. He's based in California. And we submitted all the papers. And I had everything planned because you're supposed to get an interview within the next 30 days after you submit all the papers, if they are correct. It's a book. The lawyer gets everything done. And you will have to do a market analysis. You will have to build your business case. How much are gonna be your sales for the next year? Your revenue, how many people are you going to employ, everything.
Yeah, here's
for
my
the next
business
5
plan.
years. Yeah.
Yep.
And how much help did the grounds guys give you for that, or were you on your own for that?
No, they have pretty much everything, all the market analysis, all the information regarding opportunities and everything else. They have pretty much everything, and building a business plan, if you have all the market detail, is really easy. So with all that information, I submitted my papers to the Colombian embassy. The process is basically you submit everything to the Colombian embassy, and the Colombian embassy schedules an interview for you to go and talk to the immigration specialist or whatever, and they give you the visa. We had everything planned. We submitted the papers in, I think it was on April or something like that. And so we had enough time. We were going to move once my kids got out of school so they can start the new school year in the U.S. But COVID hit, and the backlog for the Colombian embassy was like a year and a half or 2 years.
Wow.
So we ended up coming here. I had to stay like 3 months without doing anything because I couldn't work. I didn't have my papers. The franchisor, when are you going to start? When are you going to start? We need you to get moving. I can't. And I was talking to the attorney, and the attorney said, okay, since there is no answer from these guys in the Colombian embassy, there is one way to apply for something called a change of status. So that's basically, since I came into the country waiting for my interview to be in Colombia, and the U.S. Embassy in Colombia doesn't give any answer. They have, I don't know, but they didn't call me in the time that they were supposed to call me. I asked the immigration services in the United States to change my status from B1, which is a visitor, to E2. Because I already applied for everything. I did everything that was needed. But
Took time, yeah.
Yeah, it took more time than it was supposed to, and was something out of my control. So I applied for that, and I got my change of status, and then I started working. So
you were able to get in the country on the visa, the tourist visa, the B1, and then request a change of status so you could stay in and get the ball rolling.
yeah, so
Interesting.
I got the permission to start working.
Nice.
It's, I mean, it's based on the circumstances. It's not what you're supposed to do, but I didn't come here
Take it.
waiting to ask for a change of status, because it's not even a benefit for me, because the E2 visa, when it's issued by the Colombian embassy, it's for 5 years. The one that I got is for 2 years, and I have to renew in 2 years instead of renewing in 5. So I am still waiting it's been almost a year.
Yeah.
And I am still waiting for the U.S. Embassy in Colombia to call me to go have the interview so they can stamp my E2 from the U.S. Embassy and not from the UC's department here. And
Well, so now you're here. You're based out of Winter Park, is that right?
yeah.
The Winter Park area of Florida. And now you got to get the ball rolling. So you've got to buy equipment, I'm sure. You've got to hire employees. You've got to market yourself.
I actually had to buy the equipment and everything before I apply for the visa, because you have to show an outstanding investment before you apply for the visa. So my situation was, I was like $100,000 down,
Wow.
waiting for the U.S. Embassy to call me.
Wow. I bet that was nerve-wracking.
Yeah, a little bit.
That sounds like stress on a stick.
So what was the first thing you did? Where did you start marketing? How did you start drumming up business?
I don't know anyone. Part of being a small business unit owner is being part of the community. It's being part of a community, and that's how most of the businesses start. But right now, digital marketing has changed the game tremendously. So even for an outsider like me, it wasn't really hard to start getting clients, people that I never knew before, who are looking for a service. So I got my first client, and I would say obviously nervous, because there comes this guy who's just starting a business with an accent.
Yeah.
But everything went really smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we talked about this with us. It's like the difference between you coming, whether you're coming from on an E2 or just in America, if you had Andreas's landscaping, it might be a little bit harder for you to kind of get the ball rolling. But as a franchise, you buy a franchise, you already start on second base. You don't got to worry about hitting the first ball and running. You start with you have a brand. So the grounds guys,
Yeah, you have a head start.
A head start.
That's what you've bought with the franchise.
Right. And they have logos, they have some marketing aspects. I'm sure they have things on the top end to help you push marketing on social media and stuff as well. So the offerings that they have for you, were those very helpful for you to kind of get the ball rolling?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're going to start a business, I have started several businesses throughout my life. And every time you start a business, when you have my mindset is, I got to go and get some revenue, cash flow.
You got to get the phone ringing.
You got to get the phone ringing. And when you're doing that, you neglect everything else. You start neglecting the processes. You start neglecting the culture. You start neglecting your marketing, your branding, everything.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, and you don't have time, and you probably don't have the resources to build everything. I mean, I was doing a presentation today, and I was talking about the GC3, how we do every visit to a client. We were talking about the 5 S's, what we do after a whole day of work. I was talking about LAN, acronyms. That means how people has to behave every single day. And if it wasn't because I have a franchise, I would probably don't have that.
Right.
And I have a CRM, and the CRM allows me to have a complete control of my clients.
Yeah.
The CRM allows me to do an estimate and make sure that I am being profitable.
Right.
So what was that? What was the quote you sent last week from the book? Like you don't rise to the
Level of your goals.
You fall to the level of your systems. So your systems are what keep everything up. That's exactly what you're saying. You're so busy doing that you have to have quality systems to keep all the balls in the air.
Yeah, and at the end, you have a franchisor that they already walked that path.
Yeah.
And in my case, I have 280 other owners.
So you got a resource.
You got a network there.
I have a lead for doing any thing that I have never done before. I can just post a little thing on the Facebook page. Hey, who knows about this? Can I call you? And I get 3, 4, 5 calls right away.
Wow.
And they're, okay, you're going to do this. You're going to do that. You're going to get this machine. You're going to get your supplies here. You're going to buy this. You're going to...
Wow.
And you got everything done.
Yeah, we like to say we stole this from someone, but you're in business for yourself, but you're not in business by yourself. And so when you buy into a franchise, you're buying into a collective. You're buying into a
Yeah, and you've got,
community.
like you said, you have an owner's network that you can tap into of experienced people.
Yeah, you're in a like-minded community.
And you have people to compare yourself to and
Yes.
to aspire to be like.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's great. That motivates you.
Ready to start your own business? How would you like a jumpstart? Hole-in-the-Wall Drywall Repair is now offering franchise opportunities for strong entrepreneurs. When you franchise with Hole-in-the-Wall, we help you get up, running, and ready to start generating revenue fast. You get access to our comprehensive training program, continued support, and our proven business model that has allowed us to experience explosive growth. Achieve financial success while providing a valuable service to your community. Take the first steps towards achieving your entrepreneurial dreams. Go to holeinthewallfranchising.com.
So what are some challenges that you found once you got the ball rolling? What are some of the challenges that you have found? And I think of this from a listener's perspective. You're a small business owner. You're looking to buy your own franchise or small business. What are some challenges that you can expect and that you were able to overcome?
Building credit in the United States is a pain.
Wow, financial
When
credit.
That's interesting.
When you are, I mean, I am over 40, coming into the U.S.
Starting from scratch.
With no
starting
credit
from
history.
scratch.
Yeah.
With no credit
I
history.
didn't think about that.
Yeah, that is
I used to
interesting.
have a beautiful credit in Colombia. It's the same experience, the same company. And my credit score in Colombia was 800 points, 800 some points. And I come here, I have money in the bank, and I ask the same bank that had my money, I need a credit card because I need to start building credit. Oh, that's going to be difficult. I don't know, because you don't have any history. And blah, 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 blah. Okay, take $10,000, put it into a secure account, and give me
A secure credit card. Yep.
with those $10,000. And they denied it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So how did you overcome that?
I had to buy one car with
Okay.
16.4% APR credit
Ouch.
Wow.
to start building credit. So I paid like 70% of the car, and I only took like 30% of credit just for the minimum that they require for.
So you can build a credit history.
So start building a credit history. So that's the first thing, because, okay, you can put some money, but you don't want to, you want to work with other people's money. You don't want to work with your money all the time. So I came to a point where I don't want to put any more equity into the business. I want to get loans. I want to leverage myself on the financial system. And I don't have enough credit yet to do that. So I had to buy a second truck a while ago. And I went to like, I don't know, 3, 4 banks, 3, 4 hard inquiries. So that takes my credit down.
Yeah.
Right.
And they all deny me because I didn't have the history. So I had to put more money in order to be able to keep on.
So that is a struggle. You better come in.
That's one of the, opposed to that, when you're a U.S. citizen, you go and get an SBA loan and you get $150 just by showing your face and you can start a business.
Wow.
So that's one of the
challenge.
challenges that we face when we come on an E2 visa. Probably one of the, not challenges, but the things that I have been getting myself into is learning about digital marketing. I didn't know anything about digital marketing before because my former businesses were business-to-business relationship. It was networking. It was nothing to do with digital marketing. So I don't like to rely on a marketing agency. I mean, for me, sales and marketing are the core of any business. It doesn't matter if you're a chef, if you're a plumber, if you're an electrician, you have to know marketing. And digital marketing is what you have to learn to do right now. So that's not a challenge, but it's something that I
Yeah.
try to be better at every single day.
Well, that's got to be the benefit for the networking. When you're in a BNI meeting or networking meeting, you meet other people, and hopefully you've got somebody in your BNI that you can at least consult with on that. It is an evolution for us. We used to run all of our own marketing internally, and
Yeah, but we got in on it pretty early with a lot of the digital stuff
Yeah.
because it was, when the early 2010s when we began.
yeah.
So it was a different world then. And so we've kind of grown with it.
Does the franchisor have packages that you can subscribe to?
They have packages, and that's one of the things that I give you as an advice. If you're gonna have franchises, and build a really strong team in digital marketing, and understand that every single territory is different, because that's gonna drive a lot of revenue to your franchisees.
Yep.
If you are really good in digital marketing, and that's one of the reasons why somebody will choose you over anybody else. We are great doing digital marketing, and we can prove it. Here is what we do, and these are our results. If you can show that, I assure you, you're gonna.
Yeah, that's really good insight.
Yeah, we're actually working really hard with our digital team to kind of build packages. Obviously, we include several things with our franchises, but if they want to do more, I want to give them an avenue, that's tiered. Whether it's X number of dollars here, if they want to lean into it more, they can do maybe mini campaigns for 90 days or 180 days just to get them on the ball rolling. And that's where I've got Marketing Smarty Pants in my corner that we're able to offer those type of things that have worked for us and that we're hoping will work for our franchisees. for
Yeah.
sure.
Yep. So what is the next, say, 2 to 3 to 5 years look like for you and your franchise?
My goal right now is there's something called Top Guns in the franchise, and basically Top Guns is the 10% of the owners in revenue. So my goal right now is to make Top Gun.
Okay.
I am growing at a really good pace. I am basically way over the average of the new owners.
Nice.
Very good.
But I want to make Top Gun in the next 2 years. That means I will have to grow my business over $1.5 million per year in the next 2 years. And we are doing it basically in the project side of the business, doing resorting, doing landscape design, doing artificial turf, doing pavers.
Do you all do irrigation as well?
Irrigation, yeah.
Yep.
We do irrigation, we do new irrigation and irrigation repairs. So that's one avenue to growth, and the other avenue to growth is commercial properties, the maintenance for commercial properties, where people...
So those are like
We
the
are not-
service contracts, right? Where
Yeah.
so that's money coming in.
That's money coming
Constantly.
in constantly, but more like being a concierge of certain properties, where what they are looking for is somebody that can fix the irrigation if it
Sure.
broke, that can replace a plant if it died, they can do the annual color, that can do something
Yeah, that's
else
that's
for
a
the property.
simplicity of service for them. It's one call, and the guy who does the outside stuff at our building or our facility is taking care of it, no matter what it is. Would you guys do lighting as well? If a
do.
property had lighting,
We do.
Okay.
We do. And we do. We did last year for the first time. We do some holiday lighting.
Oh, that's a great business.
That's a really good business. And what we offer is a package that you don't own the lights. We come, we install everything. If you have a light bulb that doesn't work, or if you have any problem, you just call us and we come and we repair whatever it is. And at the beginning of January, we remove everything, we storage it, we maintain it, and we install it back in the next year.
Fantastic.
That's a great service.
I didn't realize that you actually own the lighting then, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking landscape lighting, but then the
holiday lighting.
We do
That's
both,
a huge
landscape
business.
and holiday, because you don't wanna own the lights. I mean, lights are gonna be
That's
outdated
genius.
in 3 years.
I never considered that. That's genius.
It really is a neat.
I think I'm gonna get in the holiday light business. Could you help me with that? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm sending all my holiday light business to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Andreas, you mentioned like here's what you'd like to see for the next 2 to 5 years, but beyond that, what kind of goal setting do you have, and how do you view that? Is that an important aspect of what you're doing?
My wife always says, if you don't know where you're going, any route is gonna be good.
Yes, that's true.
And that's true for life, and that's true for businesses, and that's true for everything. So if you don't have any idea where you want to go, if you don't have any idea how to break down into the numbers, you're not going to get there. I mean, you need to know how much revenue you have to bring per employee, how much revenue you have to bring per day.
Right.
How much profit are you getting every single day? How much profit are you getting every single month? I mean, I talk about a lot of business owners, and I am like, wow, what are you doing?
Yeah.
They have their accounting up to last year.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
They look at the bank account. Well, I got money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I just changed my accountants the last month because if you have QuickBooks Online, you can see every single day how you're doing.
Yeah.
Because everything is linked to the bank. But they didn't want to categorize the expenses until the end of the month. So that doesn't work for me. I need to know every single week if I did profit or not.
So knowing your numbers is crucial for your growth of your business, making sure you know all of your key steps. Because obviously it's gross revenue, but then you got to, what's at the end?
Yeah,
of
what's the net
day?
down
Net.
there? Yeah.
Net. I mean, you could say you're going to make $1 million a year, but if you spend $1.2 million, then you've lost money, right? So knowing your numbers is really important. Well, that's awesome. Andres, I loved having you here. I hope we can stay friends and
great
come
guest,
on back again. Why don't you tell our audience how to get a hold of you? If someone wants to get a hold of you and use your services, what's the best way to get a hold of the grounds guys for you?
Well, you can either call us. 689-240-8989 is my direct number. I would love to talk to anyone who wants to reach out to me. You can follow us on Facebook. You are gonna find us on Facebook as the Grounds Guys Winter Park FL. You can Google us. We are on Google Maps. You can search our Google business profile. You can visit our website, groundsguys.com.
Awesome.
/WinterParkFL.
Well, good. And then I'll put all these links in the liner notes so people can see those as well. You can click on that pretty fast. Listen, Andres, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're able to come today. And let's stay in
A
touch.
ton of information, and thank you for sharing all that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening. Great show. We'd like to thank you for listening to the Hole in the Wall Business Podcast with Bill and James. We'd love for you to join our Facebook group and keep the conversation going. If you'd like to learn more about us and our business, check us out at holeinthewall.com. If you'd like to learn more about how to start a Hole in the Wall franchise, go to holeinthewallfranchising.com.